How long is it going to take me to get this from the box to the board? Let's find out, shall we? Now this is going to be the most challenging box to board I've done thus far. I like to try and get these boxes ready for the pre-order date. Now that is actually today. My box got lost in the warp, aka Derby. Now the problem is with that, I don't live in Derby. So I'm going to take all my experience of doing these box to board challenges to see if I can get this box done in just 1 week. Am I biting off more than I can chew? That's a nice little Space Wolves pun there. Let's go and find out exactly what I'm going to do to take on this challenge. Let's go. All right, this is usually the part of the video where I like to have a deep dive into the box with everything you're gonna get, but I'm gonna skip it this time around. If you wanna see exactly what you're gonna get in the box, make sure you check out my friend and co-host of the Hobbyhammer podcast, Lloyd, aka the Painting Coach's video right up here, where he does that exact thing, and he is a little bit excited about it. Let's chat about my process though, shall we? Now, with time being a very big consideration for this video, I'm going to share with you 4 things that I'm going to do to really maximize my efficiency when it comes to the building aspect of this box. Number 1, read the instructions before you start building. Reading through the instructions is going to save you a lot of time when it comes to decision making and unnecessary mistakes as well when it comes to how you're actually going to build each of these models. Now, a lot of these kits have multiple ways of building individual models. By looking through the instructions, you can see what options are available to you and ultimately decide which ones that you want to build. Number 2, now with Space Marines, typically speaking, you are going to have the option to give them helmets or have them helmetless. But having had a look through the instructions, again, point number 1 coming in handy here, I can see that the sculpts for these heads are, oh yeah, that's right. They are absolutely incredible. And there's so much character going into these head sculpts that it would just feel wrong to not include them. So I'm probably gonna have a mix of 50-50 with helmets and faces. Number 3, what extra bits are you gonna put on these models? With these models, you are going to have some extra little packs and guns and holsters that you can put onto these guys. Now, typically speaking, I don't bother with it too much because to me, it's just another thing I have to paint. Different strokes for different folks. You do you at the end of the day, but for me, when it comes to efficiency and just honestly my own personal preference, I'm not really fussed. Plus, I've got a friend who wants to take some of the spare bits from this kit, so hey, double winner on that one. Number 4, tidying up your models. Some models come with sprue lines, or whenever you clip off a model, sometimes you can see where you've clipped. I'm not one of those people who is really meticulous when it comes to cleaning off every single sprue or mold line on models. I clean them up to the best of my abilities, but ultimately, once they're painted, I've never noticed any sprue lines or cuts on any of my models. So I'm going to implement all 4 of these techniques to really speed up the building process of this. Now, with that all being said, I want to set myself a challenge here. I think I can build this entire army in under 4 hours. I think. Let's see how well I do, shall we? Okay, the first challenge is done. I did manage to get it done in just under 3.5 hours. And all the tips I said earlier really did help me achieve that. These models are absolutely fantastic. And I did go for a little bit of a mix between heads and helmets. I do think I leaned a little bit more towards the heads because, as I said, they are stunning. So next up, we're going to be priming these models, and I'm really excited to do that. So let's head downstairs and see how we're going to tackle that part, shall we? Let's go. Okay, so we can all agree that saving time is absolutely fantastic, but you know what else is great? Saving money. And that's exactly where today's sponsor comes in, everythingairbrush.com. Now, those guys have been a huge supporter to this channel from the very start. You can use my discount BEN10. That's right, it's that simple. Everything on Harder & Steinbeck and Vallejo paints, you'll be able to save 10% if you use my code. It goes a massive way to showing them that their support to me is not going unappreciated by you guys as well. So if you can support the channel that way, it would mean a massive amount to me. Now, just to prove to you guys how supportive these guys are, I messaged them and I told them what I was going to be doing. And I asked them, could they help me out with a couple of bits and pieces for the priming section of this video, including the 2 paints that I'm going to be using to paint up these Space Wolves. And at 9:30 this morning, the box arrived on my doorstep. So again, these guys have saved my cheeks in this video. So if you can go and support them, support me, it will mean a massive amount to me. Go and check out everythingairbrush.com. My approach to this is going to be very simple. I'm going to be using Rust Grey Air to prime the entire model, and then I'm going to be highlighting from the top down using Fenrisian Grey. And I'm also going to prime up some of the wolves as well, but I'm going to decide what paint to use on them a little bit later on. Now, again, I said I'm going to try and do some time challenges for myself to see how quickly I can get this done. And I think with this bad boy, I think I could get this done in under the 6-hour mark. Let's get spraying, shall we? All right, we have now primed all of the models, and that is going to save us a massive amount of time. So first of all, I'm going to do my test model. This is something I always suggest you do if you're going to take on a project of this size. It's going to allow you to refine the process and find a recipe for your models. I also highly suggest you make notes of what you've done so you don't forget, because I do that all the bloody time. So in terms of the models that I'm going to take on first, I'm going to go with the, what's their names again? I keep forgetting. Blood Claws. I'm going to do the Blood Claws first. Now, I did decide to have none of these guys with helmets because honestly, I find it a little bit difficult to tell which is which between the Blood Claws and the Grey Hunters. So I decided to keep all of their helmets off. I have a feeling I might regret that later on, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, shall we? Now, unit of 10. How long is it going to take me to get this done? I think under the 10-hour mark is the target I'm going to aim for. So let's get painting the test model. Let's go. Whew. So first of all, we're just under the 10-hour mark. I've been spot on with the timings of this, which is it's kind of nice. That was challenging. I do regret not having these guys with helmets, but I am really, really happy with the effect that I got with this 10-man squad. I am definitely not going to go straight into the Grey Hunters next, because the idea of painting another 10-man squad, yeah, just it's not jimmying my jangles at all. So I believe that this is going to be my next move. I'm going to move on to the head takers. Let's talk about streaking grime, shall we? Oh my word. When pushed for time, reach for the grime. Because my word, not only does it look stunning in my opinion, it's very much my aesthetic. It saved me so much time because it covers a lot of the small mistakes that you make. And with these guys, you want to be either super clean, which that's just not my style to be honest, or a little bit grimdark and gritty. That is very much my style. That streaking grime has yeah, saved me a lot of time. I'm not meaning to rhyme this much, I promise. If you've gotten to this part of the video, by the way, please do hit that subscribe button. It means a massive amount. We are tickling 15,000 subscribers, and if you can, leave a like and let me know what you think about streaking grime too. Now, one of the big troubles I did have in this section was getting the yellow just right. I have not painted yellow that much, and I did take a couple of pointers from videos where it said to start with pink. Now, it did take me a couple of attempts to get that right because the pink I had, it was just going to take me forever. I had to do so many layers. So I ended up using a purple, then layering it up to pink, and I am honestly much, much happier with that. I'm going to move on to the head takers next. Will I be able to get this done for Saturday? It's going to be tight. Let's get on to the head takers and the goodest boys, shall we? Let's go. Okay, I finished the head takers and the goodest boys, and I think this is the part of the project where I fall in love with the box. This happens every single time I do one of these box to board challenges. I enter some of these feeling, you know, a bit of a mixed bag on the box itself and the models themselves, but nearly every single time I've done one of these, I end up then falling in love with the models and the range, and this is where it happened. These head takers I think are so cool. Loads of character. I feel like I'm actually the most proud I've been with these guys in terms of the faces and the detail I got on these guys. Although I have to admit, one of the guys, his shield is upside down. Whoops, ah well, maybe it's just in a rush to get to battle. That sounds right, that sounds lore accurate. All right, so time-wise, I think with the experience I've got now, I think these two characters are not going to take me that long. I think I could get these done in under 2 hours each. So at the end of this shot, I'm going to have a little time lapse of me painting up the battle leader. I'm going to have a time lapse of me painting up this guy, and I think I could get this done under the 16-hour mark. Might be a bit ambitious, but we'll see. I'm pretty confident now that I can get these done pretty quickly, and honestly I think this might be the best looking army I've painted so far. Alright, I thought I would do a little bit of a chat about what I'm doing with each of these models, because it's fairly similar throughout. So I'm doing the Wolf Priest at the moment. Now I have done his pelts with the Gore Grunter flesh, and it gives it a little bit of like a reddish tinge. And I've done the vast majority of the other guys with Wildwoods or Cygor Brown. The Wildwood, I've done all the leathers as well, and the kind of the pelts in there. You can kind of see a little bit of difference. And then I'm currently now just adding some Blood Angels red, because we got to get some Blood Angels there somewhere, onto the cowl and then the cloak as well, which I'll then highlight up later on with some Mephiston red. And I'll maybe push that up to Wild Rider. We'll see though. I didn't do that with the Battle Leader, and I still think that looks pretty good. So we'll see. Again, the less steps I need to do, the better. What I'm going to do next is he's got little scroll things coming off the side. I think I might do those with contrast skeleton horde. I spilt a massive amount of it the other day. And then I'm going to pick out all of the metal details. Oh, there's my mum calling me. I tried the skeleton horde, but it doesn't have the coverage that I would like, so I think I might just paint those over and then apply the skeleton horde over the top of it. This is almost a version of their chaplains, and chaplains are pretty terrifying individuals, so I thought some black gloves would just give him that little bit of an ominous look. We're working on that now. I'm just using Black Legion. Again, the vast majority of these paints that I'm using are contrast, because it just speeds things up so much. And I can always come in and then punch it up a little bit more. I don't Carrick Stone on the little scroll things, and then use Carrick Stone to highlight a little bit of these skulls, because he's got a lot of skulls on him, including his helmet, his mask, which is, again, pretty scary looking. Alright, so I have now done all of the dry brushing. I have done some Dawnstone on those gloves just to give them a little bit more of a pop. Next, I'm going to punch in the gold details, and there's quite a few of them. Here we go. I have now applied the layer of the Mephiston red, sorry, how dare I. Hopefully you're enjoying this style of video, because I'm not a big one for doing full-on painting tutorials, but if it's random little bits like this, I'd be more than happy to do this. So let me know in the comments if this is something you appreciate, because I do get a lot of questions about how I paint and, you know, the decisions I make and all that stuff. But honestly, the idea of making this a painting channel, just, yeah. The jimmies don't get jangled by that at all. That's twice I've made that joke in this video. It's just not my thing. So if I can do little bits like this where I chat about what I'm doing, show it to the camera, you know, like that, I'm more than happy to do that. So if you want me to do that more in the videos, please let me know in the comments. This is looking really, really cool. I'm really enjoying this model. I think I'm going to push the red up a little bit more though. I'm going to use this Scarlet red just to make that red pop that little bit more, because when I apply the streak and grime, it will pull it down quite a bit. Now I'm going to mix it into the corn red so there's not that immediate jump up. That's usually what I do whenever I'm going up in colors. I try to do a 50-50 mix of the previous color with the newer color. Also thin down the paints. You can always add more paint later on, so having it that little bit thinner really goes a long way, and you'll be able to see. So there you go, there's the red. Again, that's going to darken down as it dries. I have now done a couple of little extra bits. I have done the gold shin pad thing. I have highlighted some of the bone with this this color. I have then done all the little rune stones with Ministratum Grey. Now it did take a couple of layers, and I'm not 100% happy with that, so I'm going to add a couple more layers to it. You've got ones on the little banner thing on his head, and then one in his little loincloth thing. And then I also did some Scrag Brown on the belt, and then the little pouches he had, just to differentiate them from the pelt, because it just looked like it was all just one massive colour. I've also then done the shiv to make this look like an ice shiv. I'm just trying to decide what colour to do his eyes. I think I might do them like ice blue. I have got a really, really nice sky blue that I think might stand out quite nicely against all of that, and the cloak being red, and I've also done some extra highlights on that red, as you can maybe see. This is just a random hobby tip, but I've got this little fan. I run warm, very, very warm, and this keeps me cool, but it also allows my models to dry that little bit faster. And again, whenever it comes to speed, things drying that little bit faster really does help. I love this model. I'm actually getting him done really, really quickly. We're only at 15 hours and 25 minutes. This is a fun project. I did not expect to enjoy this as much as I am, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not done yet. Maybe the grey walls will change that, but we'll see. We will see. Right, back to painting and finishing this guy off. All right. We are nearly finished this model. I'm really happy with that shiv. That was actually a really simple process. I used a really thinned down white paint to base the shiv, and then I used Thalasar blue, thinned it down enough for it to be almost like a milky texture, and then I dry brushed a little bit of white over the top of it just to give it that little bit extra depth to it. Yeah, I was very, very happy with them. I think we are ready to put some of the streaking grime on this little bad boy. So let's do that, shall we? Streaking grime has been applied. I have to admit I was a little bit nervous doing this one because I was really happy with it, but I've done every other model like this, so this will just tie it in. I left the blue, obviously it's going to pop so much more. I usually leave this for about 10 minutes with all the other models, but I'm going to leave this one for a little bit less, and then I'm going to get my little cloth out, which I've been using, just to start rubbing that off. You've got to be really gentle though, because what I found is if you try to rub that little bit too much, it can actually pull the paint off, which is utterly devastating. I'm nervous. I think this is one of my favorite models so far. I've said that about all of them, but yeah, this one was a beautiful model to paint up. Hopefully the streaking grime won't remove any paint though. Well, one way to find out. Let's try it. There we go. So next I just have to put on the basing, and for that I have been using, again, thanks to everythingairbrush.com, I've been using this weathering, which has like dirt but also like little flecks of grass in it. And then that guy will be done, this guy will be done, and then it's onto the grey hunters. I'm going to try and get as much of them done tonight as possible. It's now 6:30 on Thursday. This video is coming out on Saturday. Oh, we're looking good. There we go. 16 hours. My little Space Wolf company. Hi, dude. Oh, you're in a deep nap there. So here we go. We've got these guys left to go, and then we are finished. Say hello, guys. You guys are going to be in the channel. Hey! All right, at the start of this video, I did say this is going to be my biggest box to board challenge so far, and yeah, that was 100% right. Now, how long did it take me to get this entire video done? 22 hours, or just shy of 22 hours. Now, this has been one of the most challenging, but one of the most rewarding box to boards I have done thus far. And I just want to take this moment to say a massive thank you to Games Workshop for getting me it out that little bit early so I could get it ready for this video. Now, is this something I'm going to be rushing to do again in the future? Get an entire army box set done in just 1 week? Oh, hell no. This was a huge undertaking. But as I said, I learned so much, and from being an army box set that I was just okay about, this is my favorite box to board challenge I've done so far. In fact, it's going to get a very rare and legendary 3 chef's kisses. If you could support the channel that little bit more, please like, share, comment. It means a massive amount. And if you want to go that little bit further, you can support me on Patreon for just £3 a month. It goes a massive way to making these videos and honestly gets me a little bit closer to making this something I can do more often. With that being said, I'm going to go sleep for a week and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.